Good morning everybody. So today I will be making a sweater tutorial. If you love to knit, this would be a great project for you to do. It's not that complicated without the extreme or complicated pattern. So we don't use that much stitch in this project. We're just gonna use knit below and purl. Just 3 stitches we need. So this is gonna be longer. It's gonna take your time a little bit, so just bear with me. So the first thing I'm gonna tell you is the tips that is gonna be applied to the project. First tip is, this is your yarn, right? So just measure 5 arm length. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Before you start the project, it doesn't matter if you have exist yarn, you can use it later on, which I'll show you when we join the project together. So this is gonna be on your way, right? If you have if you're started knitting and you have this much yarn on your way, what you do is you fold it like this, fold it like that. You're gonna stitch like a garter stitch first before you're able to do this, and then just tie it a knot like that. And you see this safety pin here, use it, and then pin it somewhere here so that it's not on your way when you are knitting. So the second tip is, you are always gonna knit at the beginning of the stitches and the end of the stitches. It doesn't matter if it's in the wrong side or in the right side. So the third tip is, if you're reading the stitches, so we have the pattern here, the ribbing pattern, but then when you're decreasing and increasing, it's gonna be confusing to remember. So here's the way to read pattern here. So on the wrong side, you'll see these double stitches here. You are always gonna purl on that double loop there that you can see. Always a purl. So to establish the pattern, you usually establish it from the wrong side. So if you had a mistake on the wrong side, the right side is gonna be a mess. So always purl when you see the double loop there. Always purl on that. Now on the right side, we are gonna knit below. So on the right side, the pattern we're gonna use is just knit and knit below. And if you stretch the fabric like that, you'll see the square, kind of square. That's where you are gonna knit below. Always knit below on those areas there. And as you can see, the knit area there, which is kind of close stitch, you'll notice that you won't be able to knit below on those because it's like close. So just remember to always knit on those area there. And the fourth tip is, that is, whenever you are decreasing or increasing, you are always gonna do it in the right side. So always in the right side only, except on the neckline pattern, which I will show you when we get to that part. And the fifth tip is that you are only gonna use 3 stitches in this pattern. That is the knit below, and purl. Only 3 of them. And now we are gonna start knitting. We are gonna start the back side of the sweater. So as the tip that I give you, measure 5 arm length of the yarn, then cast on 89 stitches. circular or straight is fine, but circular needle are kind of more flexible. So if you have not buy any knitting materials, I would recommend buying a circular one because it's like flexible. And then knit 4 rows. Okay, this is how are we gonna do the knit here. Grab the yarn, slide it through the loop. Insert the needle and the stitches, grab the yarn, hold the yarn so it won't go anywhere, and slide the stitches up. Insert the needle, grab the yarn like that, hold the yarn so it won't go anywhere, hold it, and then hold the loop too so that it won't go anywhere, and then slide the stitch out. So this is how it should look like when you have 4 rows of your garter stitch. Now this is gonna be tricky, you know, it's kind of tricky counting. So this is just the image here of how it's supposed to look like when you have 4 stitches already, 4 rows of garter stitch or knit. And as you can see, there is like 2 lines there, and then at the back side, which is the wrong side, you got 3 lines. So 2 lines there is gonna be the right side. And now we are gonna do the pattern here, you know, the pattern with the square ones. And always remember, we are gonna knit at the beginning and the end of the project. Now this is gonna be our row 1 pattern. We're gonna knit twice in the beginning. So we're gonna knit again, and then purl and knit. Just alternate the knit and purl here till you reach the end, and just end in knit as one of our tips the very beginning. And now we are gonna do the row 2 here, and this is the right side. We're gonna knit just like that and knit below. You see the square one there, insert it through there, insert the needle, grab the yarn, insert it through the loop like that, and knit again and knit below. So just alternate the pattern here, ending in knit. So we always end and start with the knit pattern. And now we are going to do the row 3. Here, those double loop there, we are always gonna purl on those. So we're gonna knit again and purl. And knit. If you can read the stitches here, you don't have to go and read the pattern all over again. Just go back to our tips on how to read the stitches. And now we are in the last row, which is the fourth row here in the right side. We're gonna knit and knit again. You see the closed area there, you can knit below. When you see an open area like that, you always gonna knit below on those. And you see the closed area there, you always knit on those, as we discussed in our tips. And of course, knit below, just alternate the pattern till you reach the very end. And now continue the pattern till you got 18 inches. And now that you have 18 inches, we are gonna start the armhole side of the project. Now start by casting off 8 stitches. Cast off or bind off 8 stitches. Make sure to mark the 9 stitches. That's gonna be our last stitch. And we are on the right side right now, so we are gonna knit and knit below and then bind off like that. And then we are gonna knit in that area there where it's like a close, and then bind off. And in that square area there, we are gonna knit below and then knit. Just continue the pattern, and that one is the last stitch here. So we're just gonna bind off one last time, and that's the signal there. And then just continue the pattern till you reach the end of the stitches. Now turn it around on the wrong side. Count 8 stitches, marking on the 9th stitch, and then we are gonna knit and purl. Purl is put the yarn in front of the needle, just like that. That's the purl. And then knit. And then we are gonna bind up. Our wrong side pattern is knit and purl, and on the right side is knit and knit below. So just continue the pattern till you reach that marker. And then our last stitch here, and then just make sure you have 73 stitches. Now continue the pattern till you reach the very end of the stitches, and then turn to the right side. So this is the cast off here. That's when you started casting off here in this area here. So what you're gonna do is decrease the stitches here. So you always decrease. Remember the other tips that I gave you? You always decrease and increase in the right side area only, which is this one here. So what you're gonna do is you decrease in this side here and decrease in this side here. So you mirrored it, and then you're gonna decrease it just on the right side for 7 times. that should be 57 inches there from where the mark is. So we are only gonna be decreasing on the front area here on the right side, so don't worry about the wrong side. So I marked the stitches where it's gonna be decreased, and you can count them, but then it's easier to have mark, you know, so that you don't have to count every time you are decreasing if you have the right stitches already. But yeah, you should decrease 7 times more in the right side area here. This is just a tip to help you make it easier. And decrease the stitches here by grabbing 2 stitches at once, just like here in the video. And then just continue the pattern, which is the knit and knit below. Just go back to the tips on how to do it. And you are almost at the end here, so we are gonna decrease again. So it's like a mirror. What you do on the other side, you do on the other side. So just continue the normal pattern on the wrong side, which is the knit and purl. After decreasing, this is how suppose it should look like. It should have 57 stitches in total, and these are the markers I had before I started decreasing. And after this, you're just gonna continue stitching the regular without decrease and increase until you reach the 7.5 inches or 7.5 inches here. And now that you are done with your armhole, we are gonna do the neckline. So neckline here is very complicated. So you see the curved area here. So in this part here, you are gonna decrease in every row. So every alteration row is you only decrease on the right side, but here every row, which is gonna be back in front. But then what you're doing is you're only decreasing on this area here where the neckline is, just here. I'll show you the picture, guys. You only decrease in this side here, not in the side, and then you're doing it every row. Before shaping the neckline, I have here marks. So the other side is 13 stitches and the other side is 13 stitches, and we are gonna bind off the 31 stitches on the front. In this area here, we are gonna decrease on the wrong side or the right side. So it doesn't matter because we're gonna be prioritizing here the center part. Continue the pattern till you have 13 stitches in your needle. Now cast off the 31 stitches to form the neckline area. Just continue doing the pattern while casting off with the knit and knit below. As you can see, the area here is done. Now that you have 31 cast off, continue the pattern till the end. You should have another 13 stitches in your needle. And now we are gonna transfer the stitches using the stitch holder. But right now I'm just using a straight needle in a stitch stopper, just like that. It should look like that after. And now we are gonna decrease 3 times. The first decrease is on the right side, just like this one here. And then just continue the pattern with the right knit and knit below on the right side. Knit below, knit, knit below, knit, knit below, and then just continue on the wrong side. We're not gonna decrease on this side here yet. And now we are going to decrease, which is the second decrease is in the wrong side, and now the third decrease is in the right side, just like that. And just continue the pattern as it is. You should have a total of 10 stitches left in your needle. And then work 2 more rows with the same pattern. This is the first row, this is gonna be the second row here. And then we are going to bind off or cast off. And now leave extra strand for the yarn and cut and tie the knot. We are gonna weave them later on. Now transfer the 13 stitches to your circular needle. We're gonna start working on it. And then grab the yarn and insert it. As long as it has 2 yarns or 2 stitches holding it together, that's good enough. And then just tie it. Just make sure it's near where the stitches where you're gonna start the stitches is. So just tie it like that, and you are good to go. Now continue the pattern same as you did on the other side. So do it on the next 3 rows and you should have 10 stitches left. After that, work more 2 rows and then bind it off. And then we are gonna move to the front side of the project. What is the difference only on the back and front is the neckline. So this is the back area here. As you can see, the neckline is very shallow. It's not that deep. Unlike the front area here, which is kind of deeper, right? So you're gonna continue the pattern same as the back till you reach 6 inches. So on the back side or the back, you should have 7.5 inches. But on the front, you should have 6 inches. And then we are gonna shape the neck of the front. As I mentioned earlier, the neck part of the front side is deeper than the back side. To set up our neckline, these are the numbers we need to remember. and continue the pattern on the first 18 stitches here, and cast off or bind off the 21 stitches at the center. And then continue the pattern on the another 18 stitches. Now transfer the stitches to the stitch holder. Anything that can hold the stitches is fine. And then we're gonna work on it later on. Now we are gonna do our first decrease on the wrong side. And we are gonna do our second decrease on the right side of the project. Now do the decrease 2 times, equivalent to 4 times of decrease. Now decrease in every alteration row or decrease in the right side only. You should have 10 stitches left in your needle, and then after that 2 more rows. This is our first row here. And then our second row. And then after that we're gonna bind off or cast off. And then cut the yarn and then tie the knot to stop it from unraveling. Transfer the stitches to the circular needle. We're gonna start working on it. And then tie the yarn by the neckline, just like that. Just make sure you have 2 yarns to hold it. And then decrease in every row 4 times. After, decrease just on the right side for 4 times. Work 2 more rows and then bind off. And now we are going to move to the sleeves. Remember to make 2 of them. So using 4mm knitting needles, cast on 4 to 7 stitches. And knit 4, just like the garter stitch that I show you, same as the front and back in the very beginning. And this is how it's supposed to look like after you after you knit 4 rows of it. And then change to 5mm knitting needles and continue the same pattern for 15 rows. Now this is gonna be our row 1 pattern. We're gonna knit twice in the beginning. So we're gonna knit again, and then purl and knit. Just alternate the knit and purl here till you reach the end, and just end in knit as one of our tips at the very beginning. And now we are gonna do the row 2 here, and this is the right side. We're gonna knit just like that and knit below. You see the square one there, insert it through there, insert the needle, grab the yarn, insert it through the loop like that, and knit again and knit below. So just alternate the pattern here, ending in knit. So we always end and start with the knit pattern. And now we are going to do the row 3. Here, those double loop there, we are always gonna purl on those. So we're gonna knit again and purl. And knit. If you can read the stitches here, you don't have to go and read the pattern all over again. Just go back to our tips on how to read the stitches. And now we are in the last row, which is the 4th row here in the right side. We're gonna knit and knit again. You see the close area there, you can knit below. When you see an open area like that, you always gonna knit below on those. And you see the close area there, you always knit on those, as we discussed in our tips. And of course, knit below, just alternate the pattern till you reach the very end. And continue the same pattern for 15 rows, and on the 16 rows, which is this side here, you are gonna increase 1 in this side and in this side, and we only increase in the right side, remember? So same thing with our body, we are gonna mirror the decrease and increase. and we are gonna do it only in the right side. Here's how we're gonna count our stitches: 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, plus on top of it is 1 stitch. So we're in the right side now, so it's equivalent to 15 stitches. So every bulk on those are counted as 2. So counting the stitches is kind of tricky, so reading it is kind of more convenient. So what you're gonna do is you are gonna increase again 5 times more on the 16th row. So I mark here the increases that I made. So I have pins there. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 plus additional on top of it. We're gonna increase 1 more, equivalent of 6 increase every 16 row. And I'll show you how to increase later on. Here's how we do it. First you knit at the very beginning, and then you are gonna wrap the needle to get another stitch. So wrap the yarn in the needle just like that, so you have another extra stitch there, and then just continue the pattern as it is till you reach at the very last one. Here on our very last one we are gonna increase 1 more because we mirror it, and then just knit, and then here we're gonna increase, wrap the yarn in the needle, you see the stitch there, you add another one, and then just knit. So that's how we increase. You should have a total of 59 stitches in your knitting needles now, and then continue just the regular pattern till you reach 14.5 inches of your sleeves. After that we are gonna shape the top area here, this area here, we are gonna shape that. So we are going to cast off 8 stitches in the next 2 rows. Now we are gonna cast off or bind off 8 stitches here. So that's how we bind off, just like that. So make 8 of this. And this is the first row, so we're gonna bind off in next 2 rows, and this is our first row here. And then just continue your stitches till you reach the very end, and then we are gonna turn to the wrong side, and we are gonna bind off another 8 stitches. And then just this should how it look like after you bind. And now we are gonna decrease in every 4th row. So we are gonna decrease each side here, but only in the right side area, and you are gonna do it 4 times. Now I have marks here on my decrease on my every 4th row. So I have 4 pins there as a mark. So that should look like that after your decreases. And just after that, just continue decreasing just on the right side till you reach only 9 stitches on your tip here. And then work 1 more row and then bind off, and then just leave a piece of yarn. And now we are gonna join the project, and now we are going to join our piece. This is our front here. So just lay our front. This is the right side and this is the wrong side. This is our back side. So just This is the wrong side here, and this is the right side. Just face the right side together. Join here, here, and here. As for our sleeves, this is the right side, and then fold it this way and join here. So I'll just thread the needle like that, and I'll try to stitch it. So I'll just try to do sewing here. Actually, this is really big needle. I'm gonna change it to smaller one. Just sewing by hand. And I will just tie it a knot. So I got this one here, the same pattern that we have, the same yarn that we have at the very beginning. So I'm gonna use them now to join our project. So, and as you can see here, this is called a stitch holder, but then I'm just using it as like a safety pin or something to hold the fabric together so that it won't move. So we are gonna join it like this, same as we did on the shoulder part. Just stitch it like that. I'm gonna do it like a sewing. Turn your body in a wrong side. So this is in the wrong side and this is the right side here. And then you just insert. So this one, the higher part, put it that way and insert it into the sleeves. And then do the same on the other one. And then use our stuff here to match up the sleeves. The center part here should match the seam line here. And then just stitch them together, just like what we do on the other ones. And after we join them, guys, we are gonna do the neck edging. With our yarn here, attach it here where the seam line is, thread it there, and then we are gonna tie it up, and I'll wave them later. So here's the trick here. You see this side here, from here to here, you're gonna have 14 stitches, or knit 14 and sew here, and here you're gonna have 23. So you have 23, 14 and 14. Here is how to do this. So you have one, so you can use a crochet hook, but if you don't have, get a needle. So this is the yarn, right? Fold it in like that and then insert it into the needle. You're gonna have hard time with this one. Crochet hook is the best one to do it. So I'll do is, needle is there, right? So just insert the needle here. Where do you want it to be? it's really faster to have a crochet hook than this one, but I don't have it right now. So I got 3. And just continue doing this and I'll meet you there. Now that we are done with the front side, we are gonna continue to the back, and this is the numbers we had to follow: 6 stitches, 32 stitches, and 6 stitches. And this should look like this when you're done, and just continue with the garter stitch. Alright guys, so this is our neck edging now. So after that, you're gonna have a piece like this here. It's like divided because you know when we turn. So all I do is just join them and then just wave the other stuff. So I'll just make sure that the seam is in the back. I'll just stitch them together. Alright guys, so this is our sweater now. It's all done. Just mind you, with this material, it is very stretchy. So washing this is not really good. I had 2 of this, you know, I made 2 of this already. So I'm gonna give this to my mother-in-law. And then washing this kind of yarn is really, you know, it's gonna stretch it out. So yeah, if you're gonna make something, I think you can use another material, but you know, you can use this one too, but just a warning that this one really stretches. And now you have a brand new sweater guys that you can use during the winter season. I hope you find this helpful, and see you in my next video.